Hello everybody, this is Flora and this is my web technology lab experiment number 8. So today what we have to do is we have to connect our website with a database. So what is a database? Database is used to store data so that when you log in the next time or when you visit the website again, the website has details regarding you. So that is why we use database. Now in any normal application, like even for example your Gmail, what we do is we have our saved emails over there, our saved passwords, so that is all stored in a database. So similarly today we're going to link our web experiment to a database. So what we have to do today is we have to design a simple application wherein we'll be asking the user to register. Once the user is registered, we will then ask them to log in with the password that he used for registration. So that is how we're going to do, and then we're going to enable a reset password button. And remember me is used to welcome the user. Suppose if it's customized and if I say welcome Flora, so that is done using session. Now for session we have already done lab experiment number 7. We told what a session is, what is the syntax of a session. So today we're just going to put everything together. Now for database we can use many other ways, like we have Oracle DB, MongoDB, and MariaDB. So what I have used is MariaDB, which comes along with Apache, which we used where we used XAMPP for this. So we're using MongoDB. Now in MongoDB I have created a database called Flora, and then I have created table called users. And what I've done in my table is I've inserted two values. Inserted one value, that is my login value. So I'll just show you now what actually is done after my registration. When I come to login page and when I use my password that I used for login, so it redirects me to a welcome page which is customized just for me. So how do I do this? Is using the session key. Now coming back to the experiment, first we have is our register page. So what we do in register page is we come to register page and we run the code. Now what happens in register page is we can register here. Now suppose I register for a user called XYZ and I give any password, something 12345, and a phone digit number which has to be 9. Now this I haven't done properly to ensure that I enter the right digit. You can customize it and say we need only 10 digits and it has to be all integers starting from number not equal to 0. So when I submit registration, it directs me to another page. If you see header, it directs me to registration page. Now what actually happens in registration page is I have got the value of the user, I've assigned it to a variable, and I have selected a table. Now I have used something called connect.php. Now what does connect.php does is connect.php is used to connect to the database. Now our database over here, Maria database, we have used the similar connect keyword to, and what we have do, we have passed our localhost. Since we have a localhost, then our user, then our password, and the table that we are inserting into our database name. So that is what we do in connect.php. Then we check whether there's already any data present over there. If suppose there's any data present over there, what happens is we redirect them to our login page and say that you have already registered, so you just have to log in. So if at all not, then you insert the data successfully. Similarly, what happens if you see it's shown inserted successfully, that means there is no user named XYZ and I have inserted that user successfully. Now this is a simple echo that I've used just to show what is happening. This is our password that I gave 12345 for our user XYZ, and this what you see is it's some encrypted with the hexadecimal value. So what is that actually is we have encrypted our code. Now what do we do for encryption? I have used MD5 method. There are a lot of encryption code like SHA1, and you can have your own customized encryption. You can just use any of the encryption method like cipher or like Caesar ciphers, any of the thing to convert your plain text into a cipher text. Over here I have used a predetermined library function called MD5, and I'm encrypting it, and then I'm using these SQL queries. I have 3 columns: username, password, and phone, and I'm inserting each of the queries. So if you see here, inserted successfully is shown because I've inserted. How do I check it? If I come back to my database and I just refresh my page, you will see now along with my name, that is user number 1, if you go to user table, and if you see, there is another user called XYZ, and if you see, both the passwords are of different value. Why is that so? Because the hashed value that we used, MD5 is just hashing your password and saving it. That is going to be unique for each and every password that you have. So when you come back, this is for registration. So now suppose I log in with my XYZ XYZ thing. So if I have XYZ and my password, I give it as 12345, which I had, and I just say remember me, and it's going to take me to, and now it's going to say welcome XYZ. So that is done using session. Now if I come back to my welcome.php, you will see I'm using session and the user that I've passed it, and I'm welcoming the user. So now there's another feature called which we had, was called writing again or resetting a password. So if suppose I go and I reset my password. Now before I reset my password, I'll just show you my password, which is over here. If you can see, it's something 202 CB9 and ending with B70. Now suppose I reset my password, FLOURA, and my phone number, which I've given, just 12. Please ensure that you set conditions for your mobile phone number, and my password was 123. And if I click change password, it changes my password. Now my password could be any password. Okay, fine, I'm sorry. It comes back because I've just I have resetted my password to the same password. Now suppose I do it again, and I say just reset my password. So if you go back to reset.php, and I have FLO Flora and 12, and I reset my password to hello, and I say change password. So if I go to change password, and if I refresh my DB, you will see that there is change in password. So just trying to interpret, this was just what I used to update my password. Now if you come to reset, I'll just show you what is the code for it. So you just have to say select star from users, you're selecting the user and ensuring that it is the same user. After that is done, you've ensured that there is that particular user present. If the user is not present, you cannot update the password because there is nothing in the database. Once that is done, you are doing is you're updating. This is the SQL query that we use to update the password with the person username. So that is what I have done. And if you see, now my password is changed to 5D something, which was initially 202 something. So how do I do this, and how do I verify? Verify is when you have to verify. So what do? You collect the username and you put it in the database. Now if you come back to verify, so if you see here, I've used these conditions. I've selected the database. From the database, I've selected the table. From the table, I've used the username. I have retrieved. Now this are some defined passwords in PHP. MySQL query is used to execute the query. This is just a string query. I have to execute that query back in the database, and MySQL num rows will return the number of rows with this value. So if I have my username as Flora, so in my database there's only one username. When I return it back, it will show me MySQL num rows, and then whatever password the user has entered in the login, it compares now it compares the users first and then the login. Now suppose I go to register and register.php, and what I do again is I try to register my name again, and try to do it again. So I'm already registered. So what it happens, it takes me to the login page. That is what I was trying to explain. Now if you see, even in login, when I log in, it's okay, it's FLOURA, and since I changed my password, is now going to retrieve. Now if I try to log in with 123, it won't receive the password because it's updated in back in the database. So now with my updated password, if you see, it's welcoming me. Now now similarly, while passing the data, now what we do is we got to reset. If you checked out and reset, there was some data passed at the header. So that header is due to, because we are using the get function. So that's how lab experiment 8. Thank you.